Hey everyone, welcome to the podcast. Andres Gamboa here, and we are set for another episode of the Ponytails podcast show here. I'm your host, Andres Gamboa, like I said, and welcome. If this is your first episode, if you don't know what the heck this is, if you're just tuning in for the first time, thank you for being here. Hope you enjoy. Just so you know a little bit about what we do and what the heck the show is about, who we interview, who we talk to. We interview alumni of the oldest internship in the United States that is called Southwestern Advantage. Now, we're not and any affiliation with the company that we worked with back in the day, but we just interview people who did their summer internship program, which recruits college kids and takes them across the country or sometimes across the world and has them go door to door selling educational books to families with kids in school. And we do this Monday through Saturday throughout the summers, Monday through Saturday for 80 hours a week, from like 8 in the morning till 9:30 p.m. And it's this crazy ride. We've had people share stories of their time during the internship and crazy things that happened to them while they were in the program. But then also we ask them about what they're up to now and where that experience led them to. And so this is what we're in tune for today. Griffin Mims is in the house with us, and I'll give you guys a quick introduction in just a second. But first, I want to give a couple shout outs to some of the other alumni that are in partnership with us in today's episode. And so what we've got today for you guys as far as like the shout outs with our partners is we've asked people in their industries to give us trade secrets, kind of like some ideas or things that are working for them in their industry that are helping them have that slide edge above the competition. So for example, we have coaches, personal coaches, health coaches, we have people in real estate, we have people in insurance, and it's really a variety of industries. And so we just ask them, hey, what are some of the things that we need to know about your industry that people should know that works for you, so they could apply it to either their industry or if they're looking to go into what you're doing, it can kind of give them an edge when they get started. So the first up is I want to talk about Will Metscher. Will Metscher is an incredible human being. Of course, he's hiring. He's one of the top sales coaches for Southwestern Consulting, and the way he does it is by using systems. So this was his advice if you're doing any sort of coaching or consulting business. If you're curious about what a coach actually does, he has 30 different clients that he takes super deep into goal setting and training, almost as much as he did with first years in the book field. And so can you imagine if you had 30 of those people that you train twice a month? It sounds almost impossible. Well, his secret is he uses the Evernote app to keep track of every single client and their goals and all of that stuff. Even Nick DeVerti's one of the people that we have with him and who he's coaching, but he takes notes on meetings, takes them and holds them accountable for all their things and much more by using the Evernote app. So if you're consulting, you might, or a consultant of any kind, a coach of any kind, you might consider looking into that. Of course, work with the best by bringing the best to others. And so that's his tip on the coaching business. Now, reach out to Will if you want to learn more about how to work with him. Next up, we have Elevate Wellness as far as talking fitness. And this is from Seth Hood and Zane Gallagher at Elevate Wellness. They're both hiring and accepting new clients. Zane is in the middle of prepping for his next physique competition in February. And he's one of the best people to learn from about fitness and getting into that body that you desire and that would make you feel more comfortable if that's something that you are inquiring about. So alongside with his partner Seth, they have some insider tips on stretching. So in this case, he was saying, hey, if you're trying to coach someone, or if you're just trying to take some free advice for some super amazing health coaches, they were talking about dynamic stretching. So a type of stretching that has you constantly moving and warming up instead of sitting and holding a stretch. That's called static stretching, of course. So do it before a workout to mirror more of the workouts you're going to do. It will prevent many injuries, big and small, and keep you at peak health. So put that work into the check out his social, especially at Train with Zane. That's at Train with Zane on Instagram. Of course, you can also follow Seth Hood on Instagram. He's revealing these tips on a daily basis. And last but not least, Cardinal Senior Benefits. We like working with Quintin Roberts and his team. All of his reps are making way over six figures. Actually, you're underperforming if you don't earn more than $200,000 a year. Well, how do they do that? So the first thing to note is that 10,000 people are turning 65 years old every day. So their market share is huge. They're catering to the older population, 60s and up usually, or typically, who are looking for final expense insurance. And so that's a massive need for what they do and what they're doing. And that's why they're growing so fast in that demographic. So simply put, consider working in an industry that shows no signs of slowing down, and partner up with someone like Quintin who can show you, how to do it and how to get it done fast and well. So if you're looking to increase your income and free up some of your time, we can put you in touch with him. The fact that his reps still earn that much money by averaging about 30 hours a week in the field, they do zero cold calling. That's pretty mind blowing. So shout out to our friends over at Cardinal. But now over to our friend here on the show. Griffin Mims is on for the second time. He was on episode 49. And now we have him back almost 100 episodes later. We are so psyched. Okay, so Griffin is a dear friend of mine. It's not often that we have on the show someone who I have known for a while, but I'm super excited to have this conversation because he did something pretty amazing that very few people on the planet have ever done, and that is climbing a very big, tall mountain. So he's here to tell us about that journey and about some of the lessons that he took from the book field to help him along and how he got to do all of this. So we have pictures and videos. This is one that if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, definitely that's cool. Make sure you listen through the end. But if you get a chance later on to go back, make sure you guys tune into our YouTube to check out some of the pictures that we're going to be sharing on the screen here, because it's going to be an amazing one. So Griffin sold just the one summer in 2016. He was one of my roommates that summer. That would have been my fourth summer. He worked, of course, with the Force organization, and he was graduated from the University of Nebraska and Lincoln. Woo-hoo, go Big Red. Let's go. Originally from Kearney, Nebraska, which yikes. No issues there. We'll forgive him for that one. But if you want to get a hold of him, you can go to his Instagram. That's at Griffin_Mims, GRIFFIN_Mims. And of course, he let us know that his favorite scroll was I will greet this day with love in my heart. And if you know Griffin, of course, that makes sense. So please welcome to the show, Griffin Mims, everybody.
Ponytails Podcast. Here we go.
Griffin Mims.
Yo, what's poppin', dude?
Dude, I'm so excited to have you here again.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here again.
I'm going to dump some tequila and kombucha together from our friends over at Home Kombucha. I've been drinking this every episode. It's thirst quenching, dude. So good. I hated kombucha.
Well, kombucha and tequila.
Yeah, it mixes well. So, like, listen, here's the thing. I moved to Portland, and I hated kombucha. Like, people make it here, like, at home. It's almost like they have breweries and they have kombucha, like, distillery thingies, whatever. And they taste like vomit. It literally tastes like you puked and then you swallowed it before it came out, like that little in the mouth puke.
Totally.
You know what I'm talking about? And so I hated it. But we had Michelle Mitchell on the show, and she started her own kombucha company from Bend, Oregon. And I'm like, I think it makes sense. It's polite that I drink kombucha on the show while she's, with me. I mean, that's just like the nice thing to do. So I was nervous. And then I drank her kombucha. Dude, it is amazing. It's actually really, 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 really good. And so I was surprised about that. So I told her about it. She's like, okay, well, we'll just send you some. And so they sent me a bunch of stuff. I have stickers, and now I get to drink kombucha. But this is delicious, and it's good for your gut health and all that stuff. But she's like, you should mix it with alcohol, and it does all sorts of different stuff. And I was like, genius. So here we are.
Oh, that's great. I'm happy.
What are you drinking? What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a Golden Road Brewing Mango Cart beer. It's one of my favorites. It's very fruity, but it's very fun. Cheers, dude.
Cheers to you. All right. Well, oh yeah, that hits a spot. Well, things have changed, dude, since you've been on the show last, both in your life and in mine. And we can talk about that as the show progresses. But I just want to say, first of all, welcome to being on the show. Thank you again for taking your time out. I know you're a busy dude, especially with what you're up to now, which we'll get into that right away. But thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
Yes, really stoked to be here and to catch up. And yeah, it's fun to be a part of it all.
Dude, let's go. So for people who maybe didn't hear your first episode, we'll repeat some of that stuff from before, just in case people are just first now tuning into this. But basically speaking, let's just catch up. Give me what happened since you left Southwestern Advantage 2016. That was 6 years ago. Holy moly, that time flies. And now what happened to you since, and kind of catch us up on the journey along the way, all the way up this roller coaster.
Yeah.
That you're tall enough to ride.
Yeah, so I sold books in the summer of 2016, and only sold that one summer. After selling books, I decided to take an internship at the University of Nebraska. That was going to be a career move for me, and decided not to come back to sell books. So then did that summer. The next summer, followed up and did the continuation of that internship that I did at the University of Nebraska. And then my senior year, spent my senior year abroad. I spent 3 months mountaineering and sea kayaking in Patagonia and Chile, and then went to the Czech Republic after. And met a guy in Chile who got convinced to move to Tahoe, to Truckee, California, and asked me if I wanted to come along. And so I said yes. Neither of us had been to California before, and I didn't even know that Truckee existed as a place, and just kind of said yes. And how it kind of went down is he asked me, he's like, hey, I think I'm going to move to Truckee. If you want to come, you're more than welcome. And I said, are there mountains there? He said, yes. I was like, okay, perfect. So moved to Truckee in August of 2019. I graduated from university and then moved 4 days later. No job, no plan, really, just kind of wanted to move to the mountains. And so moved to Truckee, California. Ended up living on in the North Shore of Lake Tahoe, and I've been here ever since for the last 3 years, and spent a year kind of hanging out and climbing and bumming, and then I started working for international mountain guide company called Alpenglow Expeditions, where I am now as the international expedition coordinator. So I do logistics and coordinating and planning for big mountain climbing all around the world. We climb Everest and every other big mountain that you can think of. So I spend my days helping people get outside climbing, and every once in a while get to get outside myself. So that's kind of the brief synopsis of where I am now.
Oh man, so many things to explore there. Dude, that is so basically what you're telling me is if I have the desire to climb Mount Everest, there's like a couple places I can go to get prepared for that. You are like the leading one. Do I understand that correctly?
Yeah. So like if you wanted to climb Mount Everest, you would call me, and I would be the person that you would talk to about climbing Everest. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, this is fun. So what people don't know, and the reason I wanted you to be here on the show is you just got done climbing Makalu, which is the 5th tallest peak in the world. It's a sister or neighbor to Everest. I mean, you can see it's not Everest, but you can see it from there, quite literally. Like,
oh yeah,
like that's actually how it works. So let me dig into this. How did you first hear? I mean, of course, you met the gentleman from Chile, and you moved to California. But how did you get into Alpenglow? How did you know that's? I mean, you went from books to working for a university to kind of traveling, trying to figure it out, and then you land at this company. How did you decide that this was the step to go? And what did you see yourself becoming from at that point?
Yeah. So I mean, in my junior year in 2018, I decided that I wanted to pursue photography a little bit and like feel that out. And I guess it like all kind of started. I'm not sure if this is when we were going to hop into this or not, but I had a conversation with you actually outside of the student union at the University of Nebraska, and kind of like then through that conversation and more reflection, decided that I wanted to do something else with my life, and then kind of hopped full in on the adventure train and wanting to spend my life outside. But with Alpenglow, I had spent about a year in Tahoe, and I had 4 jobs at the time that I applied for a weekend front desk position job at Alpenglow. The founder of Alpenglow, his name is Adrian Ballinger. He's an incredible human and a really talented mountaineer and ski mountaineer. He's summited Everest 8 times, once without oxygen, K2 without oxygen. He's made 2 first ski descents on 8,000 meter peaks, including Makalu, which was what we were there doing. Is Adrian was trying and succeeded in making the first ski descent of Makalu, a 27,766 foot peak. Wow. Yeah, so I like saw this post essentially on Adrian's Instagram for a weekend front desk position person, just kind of like help around the office. And I was flying back from Nebraska shooting a wedding, and sent in my application. I was like, oh well, I might as well have one more job. Like I love what Alpenglow does. They're a cool group of people. I'd love to, maybe like get in there a little bit and see what I can do with making connections and, just see what opportunities present themselves. And I sent in my application before hopping on my flight to Reno. And when I landed, I had a job interview and then ended up going through 3 rounds of interviews with Adrian and the chief guide Logan and the general manager Sean. And kind of through the interview process, they thought that I might be able to do something more than the front desk position. And so they asked me if I would come on to just be a yes man, to say yes to whatever they needed done and to do it. And so I kind of took that opportunity by the horns, and
Wow.
I was hired in October. And by January, I was fully working on the international side of the business, pretty much exclusively, and doing logistics and sales and everything under the sun for the international side. And Alpenglow Expeditions runs 30 to 40 international expeditions a year. And it's been an incredible learning experience and a really fun and fulfilling job to be able to help people go climb around the world. And since then, I've climbed 2 mountains in Ecuador and been to Nepal, and have done a lot of rock climbing and skiing in between. And I'm surrounded truly by some of the best mountain athletes in the world. And it's been a really, really incredible experience to be a part of. But really just kind of took a shot in the dark, hoping for an opportunity, and then worked my fucking ass off. And here I am. So
spoken like a true bookman. Like, oh man. So I was gonna ask, because how much of do you think your experiences with either Southwestern or with your internship at UNL, or just in general your life, had, how much did that have to do with the interview process and getting hired? Like, for example, I mean, I imagine when you signed up, you were like, worst thing they can say is no. I figured that comes from that. But was there what else do you think contributed to not only your interview process, but that quick growth and that quick moving up the ranks, I guess, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest lesson that I've pulled with me from Southwestern Advantage in general in life is you never know unless you knock. If you don't knock, you're not going to sell anything. And so the opportunity to just go and knock on the next door, or to apply for that job, or to pitch an idea to go shoot photos on Makalu, like those. It's funny. I've learned this lesson. The lesson was solidified during my time with Southwestern, but I first learned the lesson when I was 11 in China. There was a weird, my dad is a professor at the University of Nebraska Kearney, and I was there with my dad and a delegation of professors, and we were flying home from China. We were in the airport, and this kind of weird guy named Jeff. Anyways, I got an ice cream cone and sat down next to Jeff, and he asked me if I was going to eat it. If I was going to eat this ice cream cone that this little 11-year-old Griffin had just gotten. And I turned to him and I said, yeah, of course I'm going to eat this ice cream cone. And he said, well, you never know unless you ask. And that same idea of like, you never know unless you knock on that next door. You never know what's going to lie behind that door. That was the biggest thing that I pulled from my time selling books. And I've led that into my life now. You never know unless you try. And unless you're giving your 100% all the time, it's hard to succeed. And so I just really wanted it. I wanted to be successful at this company and with my job. And so I said yes to everything that they asked me to do. And I put in a lot of work to do it. And I think a lot of it as well was I'm incredibly passionate about what I do. And I mean, coming from Kearney, Nebraska, the mountains are kind of the biggest stark difference that I could imagine in life besides the ocean. And so it amazes me to be in the mountains. And so I get to help other people get into the mountains. And it's been really fulfilling. So I think I took a couple lessons from selling books into not being afraid of rejection, to needing to knock on the next door and making my own opportunities, to finding kind of that reason why I'm doing the work that I'm doing and why I'm working so hard, and finding that passion within it. So yeah, definitely a lot of lessons learned there. And I'm more or less a salesman, right? Like the company, the product that we provide is incredible. We truly are one of the best, if not the best, high altitude mountaineering company in the world. And we're really good at what we do. That's just being fully candid. But I more or less am selling people to come and climb with us. And you know, the lessons that I've learned knocking on doors have been so incredibly helpful in an innumerable amount of ways.
Dude, that's so cool. That's so cool. And we can keep talking about where these parallels arise, because there's a lot of things you can probably pull from those lessons as you even were climbing Makalu. But let me dig into like the meat and potatoes of this, because I want to know, and I want to give it enough time to explain like what the hell is required. Like you're the person to ask. If honestly in the world there's probably only like what, a handful of people like that I can go, how, if I wanted to climb Makalu or Everest in this or whatever, like what can you walk me through almost in painful detail? And if this is boring to people, I can't imagine how this could be boring, but to me, I want to know, like, day zero, Andres Gamboa here, and I call you, I go, Griffin, I want to fucking climb a mountain taller than any other mountain or most other mountains. What do I do? How does the process work? And what's like the timeline? Walk me through all of it.
Yeah, totally. So it's a dual-edged sword. On one end of the sword, you have altitude and altitude experience. And on the other end of the sword, you have technical experience. So it's a little bit of both. And you're able to gain technical experience as you gain altitude experience. And so the first step is, I think of altitude in terms of 6,000 meters, 7,000 meters, and then 8,000 meters. So 6,000 meters is right above 20,000 feet. 7,000 meters is above 22,500 feet. And then 8,000 meters is right above 26,000 feet. And there's only 14 8,000 meter peaks in the world, and they're all in Asia. So there's 4 peaks in Pakistan, and then the rest are in Nepal and in Tibet in China. And so they all live in one region. And so to work your way up to 8,000 meters, you have to have climbed, or the best way to set yourself up for success is to have climbed a couple 6,000 meter peaks, you know, going to Ecuador or Peru or Bolivia are great places to climb 6,000 meter peaks. And then once you've kind of develop the skills at altitude at 6,000 meters, then you can look at a 7,000 meter peak. Like Aconcagua is the tallest peak in South America. It's in Argentina. It's just shy of 7,000 meters. Like it's 40 meters shy of 7,000 meters, or like Amada Blam or Peak Lenin in Kyrgyzstan. And then, you know, once you kind of succeed at 7,000 meters, then you can start looking at 8,000 meter peaks with an era of experience, not only, you know, needing to learn how to climb with fixed lines and crampons, but also understanding what your body feels like when you're suffering at altitude. Altitude fucking sucks. There's no getting around it. And like the only place that you can experience, I think of proper altitude as anything above 16,500 feet, which you can't find in the continental United States. The only place that there's like the tallest mountain in the continental United States is Mount Whitney, and it's 14,500 feet, something like that. So you have to go outside of the continental United States. Cute, super cute. Like I was sleeping at 18,900 feet for almost a month. And that's like almost as tall as the tallest mountain in all of North America. So it's just one of those, like proper altitude is really hard. And you have to learn how to suffer at that altitude. Like it's hard to explain. The best way to explain proper altitude is there's a tightness in your chest and it's hard to catch your breath. So I would be winded, putting my pants on in the morning at base camp. And so we were climbing. It's like having COVID. Exactly. Altitude is like having COVID. 24 hours a day, and then you have to go do the hardest physical thing you've ever done in your life, and then it only gets worse as you get higher and higher and higher up the mountain. But that's kind of the steps is to do it right. And that's the way that we, you know, for our Everest teams, you have to have climbed, made an attempt at an 8,000 meter peak prior to climbing Everest with us, or have a really solid resume, climbing resume with a bunch of experience. Just because there are companies out there that you could pay, you know, $40,000 to go climb with a Nepalese company that you've never climbed anything besides Everest and learn how to walk in crampons. And that's just the wrong way to climb the mountain. You shouldn't be learning anything new while you're trying to climb the tallest mountain in the world. And so we build strong teams. Yeah.
What are crampons?
Crampons are the spiky things that you put on your boot to stick onto the ice. Is the simple way to put it. Yeah.
Listen, I'm a fucking idiot. Like I need to explain it. I mean, there's people listening to this like, what an asshole. Like we don't do any pre-approach. This is supposed to be just a conversation, have a beer. So this is the same conversation I'd be having with you if I was at a bar with you in Tahoe. And you can attest to this because we've had this
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so the crampons, pointy things you stick on your feet, and there's companies that you can pay $40,000 and they'll take you up, and well, at least try to take you up and hope for the best.
Yeah, and whereas like my company, you know, like we're not cheap, and it's for good reason. We provide the best logistics possible and climb the mountain in a really unique style. So Adrian, the founder of my company, he in 2014 started climbing peaks in what we call the rapid ascent system. So we pre-acclimatize, sleeping in hypoxic tents in our beds for Everest and big expeditions for about 2 months before we go, and we're able to sleep, you know, I was sleeping at 18,000 feet before I left for Nepal from my bed in Tahoe at 6,000 feet. So there are these crazy bed tents that allow you to sleep at altitude and to pre-acclimatize, which allow us to climb the mountains really quickly. So the average Everest itinerary is between 50 and 65 days. And our Everest itinerary is 35 days. In 2019, we had a client on the summit of Everest and back in the United States, door to door in 14 days. So we're able to climb these mountains really fast by using this style that Adrian kind of pioneered.
Shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so as much as of this as so there's probably some of this stuff you can't even share on the air because it's like kind of proprietary, I'm assuming. If we go into too much detail, or I don't know if that's like public knowledge, or how does like I don't know how much of that stuff you can share. Like if I say, okay, I pay you, what does it cost if I go with you guys? I call Alpenglow, Griffin, get me to Everest.
Yeah, $85,000 is what we cost.
Cool. So I write you a check, or do you take cash? And then
all of it. I'll take your money however you want to give it to me.
Okay, so I go, all right, Griffin, Ponytails podcast sponsor XYZ wants to have a flag of their company at the top of Everest. So they're paying $85,000 for us to go with you. So I call you, and today is July. So now what happens? What happens tomorrow? What happens next year? How does it work?
It depends on how much time and financial ability you have. You know, like the fastest period that I could get you to Everest is in about a year, but you'd be committing a lot of time to climbing and preparing. So we'd go at a minimum a 16-day expedition to Ecuador, where we'd climb 3 peaks: Cayambe, Cotopaxi, and Chimborazo being 20,500 feet over 6,000 meters. And then we'd go to a peak, and we could do that. We could do that in November, and then in December, January, February, we could go to Aconcagua and have you climb a 7,000 meter peak. And then the fastest way then would be to climb Everest in a private setting with us, in a 1-to-1 setting, without having been to 8,000 meters yet, or have that big of a climbing resume. And I could get you on to Everest in 2023 in that like fast track. But that's where the 1-to-1 setting, it's just you and a private guide, and then we have private Sherpa support as well. So you have the best support possible to help you climb this mountain. That's really hard. It's funny being kind of on the, coming up and like loving. I started climbing my first week of college and fell head over heels in love with the climbing community, and kind of fell into the idea that Everest was this bullshit mountain that only, like rich douchebags climb, and all like the negative vibe around Everest. I fully fell into that. And then you learn more about what this mountain is and what it takes to climb these peaks. And it's still, the mountaineer's crown jewel. It's the tallest peak in the world. It's really hard, and it takes proper guts and energy and suffering to climb this mountain. And we can give you all the support in the world, but unless you make the decision to summit, and put in the work to train and do all the things to get there, you're never going to do it. So it's a real mountain, and it's a cool thing to be a part of for sure. But it definitely, it can take some time to get. I would say most people are climbing for 2 or 3 years with Everest in mind before they get to the mountain.
Yeah, so it's not like, and this is in no way an insult to people who run marathons, but it's not like, I'm going to run a marathon and it's July, but in December I can run a marathon. In fact, in 6 weeks you can almost train if you wanted it hard enough. It's not like that where just like you decide and then next week you're doing it. It's like it's a project. It's an expedition for a reason, right? There's a lot of planning.
Right. It's like you need to learn how to run before you can even run the marathon. Like think about running the marathon. Like you need to learn how to put your shoes on, and you need to learn how to drink water. Like eating at altitude sucks. Like you have to learn how to do that. You have to learn how to take a shit in a bag. Like you have to, there's things that you need to learn. And it's a whole process before you can even think about going for the summit. And it's a cool process to be part of. So on the mountain, like while you're up, and it's awesome. In base camp, we have a 3-person cook staff. So we have like a main chef and 2 kitchen helpers. And so we're eating like pizza, pasta, high carbs, high protein, really great food. And then when you're on the mountain, you're eating as light as possible. So you're bringing your own snacks up the Sherpa, helping carry a lot, but you're eating D-high meals. So I had like a dehydrated breakfast one day, and then another pasta dish that's just these like D-high meals that are in bags. Essentially, they weigh less than a pound, and all you need to do is heat up, boil water, and pour them in these bags. But a lot of people will go and vomit on the mountain. Like they'll eat. Altitude makes you nauseous, and so it's hard to keep things down. And what happens when you're at altitude is your body pumps more blood to your brain so that you can function, and so it has less blood in your stomach to process the food that you're eating. And so then when you eat a big meal, all the blood rushes to your stomach, and it can make you nauseous and make you throw up. So it's kind of finding a happy medium of eating enough food to have energy, but you really don't want to eat. You're not hungry. It tastes bad. It feels bad in your stomach. Everything sucks at altitude. You can't sleep. You can't eat. You can't drink. You can't pee. It's all bad. Everything is bad, but it's awesome.
What if you? Yeah. It's like selling books, but at a much higher capacity. It's like nothing's fun. Like you eat and it hurts. You pee and it feels bad. Like it's all bad.
It's all bad, but it's awesome. There's so many ponies.
But it's awesome at the end.
Yes. Yes.
Oh man. So this is, and I'm sure I have a ton of questions, and I'm sorry to
no, of course,
and fanboy about this, but so when you're, I was thinking, well, if you're short of blood, you should just like pump IV of your own blood that you took earlier, duh. So you get extra blood. That doesn't work like that. Okay, so talk to me about your specific experience with Makalu and when you found out that you were going to do that, and then I guess walk us through your specific journey. If you documented it well. We have pictures for this, by the way, too, that we can share here on screen. But if you guys want to see more of this, you can go to Griffin's Instagram. That's at Griffin_Mims, and you'll find a ton of amazing footage and photography that you captured there. But put me at the place where you're sitting at home, you're sitting at work, and Adrian Bellinger, right? Is his name Adrian?
Yeah, Adrian Bellinger.
Or whoever it is comes up to you and says, "Hey, we're doing Makalu." Like, how does when you got that green light, and then to when you came back home? Walk me through that journey.
Yeah. So my company climbs Everest from the north side, from Tibet, and Tibet has still been closed through COVID. And so when we weren't able to run an Everest expedition, we decided to run a Makalu expedition. And Adrian has tried to climb and ski Makalu twice before this expedition. He tried for the first time in 2012, and then again in 2015. And in 2015, he they made the highest ski descent on the mountain. So they skied from just above 8,000 meters, like just above 26,000 feet. And he did that with his partner and now wife, Emily Harrington, who's an incredible climber. Small plug, Adrian and Emily just have an episode released today on HBO about a climb that they just did in Kyrgyzstan. And the episode is epic. It's absolutely bonkers what they just climbed in Kyrgyzstan. Go watch it. It's called Edge of the Earth. And
this is
Emily.
You're talking about today when we recorded this. So by the time people listen to this, it's been out, but still go check it out.
Yep. Yeah, it's on HBO Max. It's amazing. Edge of the Earth.
It released July 26th. That's when we're recording this.
Yep. But Adrian had tried to climb and ski the mountain twice before, and so he kind of had he knew the mountain. He knew that it was objectively safe for a team to go climb. And so we ended up having 5 different clients, if you will. Adrian was an athlete that was going with Eddie Bauer. One of our other guides and a really incredible athlete as well, Carla Perez. She was going to try to climb and ski or try to climb the mountain. And then we had 2 other Ecuadorians that were trying to make the FKT. And so FKT is short for fastest known time. So they were trying to climb the mountain from base camp to the summit and back and break the fastest known time, which they ended up doing. It was an incredible expedition. And then we had another team on the mountain who was just trying to climb. The guide, his name is Esteban Topomena. He ended up summiting the mountain twice this season, almost 3 times. And then his client, her name is Christina, and she's an incredible climber. Summited Cho-Oyu, the 6th tallest peak in the world, and then Everest, also with Alpenglow, and then now Makalu. So the team had a 100% success rate, and it was amazing to see these different athletes going with kind of their own objective. Adrian going to climb and ski the mountain, Carla going to climb the mountain without oxygen, without the use of supplemental oxygen, and no support. And then Carl and Nico, the 2 other Ecuadorian athletes, climbing the peak without a supplemental oxygen as fast as they could, which was absolutely insane to watch.
That's so fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah. So we had this expedition being planned, and it'd been almost a year since I'd been on an expedition, and I was wanting to go. And so I had thought of, maybe I could pitch this idea of me going to Makalu and, like shooting photos for the athletes and getting content for Alpenglow. And it'd be good for, my job to be able to, I'd never been to the Himalaya or to Nepal, but here I was selling this product that I just had researched so much, but never experienced for myself. And so then I decided to make a pitch, and I sent it to the Alpenglow leadership and to send me to Makalu to go climb with Adrian. And they liked the idea. And so I was fortunate enough to get to go and join the team. So we left in April, at the end of April. And I think I made the pitch around like the 1st of March, let's say, like in early March. So I had
of this year, of 22
of this year. Yeah. Maybe even like late February. So I had about 50 days before the expedition to like train and get everything ready. And I spent 45 days sleeping in a hypoxic tent. I trained 6 days a week, and just like fully put all of my energy into getting ready to climb this mountain. And so I was sleeping, and it was hilarious. My sleeping setup, I was sleeping in my house has a massive garage. It's truly like a 20-foot tall garage. And I was sleeping in the garage in a camper in the tent. So I was sleeping in a camper, in a tent, in a garage for like, as I was pre-acclimatizing. And then acclimatized up to 18,000 feet, and then went and flew into the Khumbu and spent a couple of days trekking in Nepal. And I went from like 16,700 feet to 21,700 feet in about 3 days. So we flew via helicopter into the advanced base camp of Makalu, which is at 18,700 feet. 18,900 feet. And then I spent 2 days kind of resting and acclimatizing, and then it was off to the races. And Adrian and I went and climbed to 21,700 feet in Camp 2 as Adrian went and carried his skis up to Camp 3 at 24,500 feet. So I went really high, really fast. Yeah. So
Bananas, bro.
crazy. And so I climbed with Adrian and shot photos and created content with him, and was able to watch him climb and work with our Sherpa. And it's amazing to see, you know, like I've worked with Adrian now for almost 2 years, and you don't see athletes as they're performing very often, but you know that they're beasts. And I knew that Adrian was an animal, but I'd never seen him perform. And until I saw him carry his skis up to 24,500 feet without oxygen, like it was nothing, you know, it's hard to put into words how difficult that was for him. And so we made that first acclimatization rotation, climbed up to 21,700 feet. And then we came back down to advanced base camp and rested for about 7 days waiting for a weather window. And this season in the Himalaya was really interesting. There was about a 15-day period where the weather was more or less stable. There's a lot of factors that go into climbing 8,000 meter peaks, but the biggest is the jet stream and watching the jet stream. So the jet stream flows at about 30,000 feet, which is right above the summit of Everest, but dips down to about 25,000, 23,000 feet sometimes. And so we're literally watching the weather that's being forecasted for airplanes to figure out, you know, if the wind is good to climb these days, which is crazy. And so we waited for about a week
My God.
and talked about strategy. And Adrian decided that this weather window was going to be good enough for him to go and try to climb and ski this mountain. And so we left base camp on May 7th and climbed to 21,700 feet. And then from there, I spent the rest of my time on oxygen. So I had moved up the mountain really quickly. And so actually I slept on oxygen the first night that I spent at 21,700 feet. And I think there's actually a video somewhere in one of the videos that I sent over of me just getting absolutely worked.
let's toss it on the screen if we can. And we'll check this out. So and let me do it this way. And I'll take myself off the screen. You can still hear. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
right. So actually, no, I have to stay on screen so I can hear you. But go ahead.
The 40-second video here is the first one that we can watch. Yeah, that one right there.
Wow, dude. This is crazy.
Just made it to Camp 2, 21,700 feet or so. Now time to get warm, hunker down for the night. I'll be sleeping on oxygen because I've come quite high quite fast. So yeah, but feeling good, super psyched. Yeah, about 1,500 feet higher than I've ever been in my life. So yeah, long day, quite hard, but I feel really good.
So that was before everything was hard.
Bro.
Then we can watch one more, the 35-second video. Yeah.
This is bananas, dude.
This one on like a small, like not even big, to like 22,000 feet. I'm tired. Fuck. Boiling water now. Starting to snow. Still have a relatively long descent ahead, but it is almost to C3.
Yeah. So as Adrian was climbing to Camp 3, I was just acclimatizing and sitting in this tent at 21,700 feet, just watching my O2 saturation levels go down, which isn't good, but it's natural as you're climbing. So I was just getting absolutely worked. So I slept on oxygen that night, and the crazy thing about the oxygen that we use in the Himalayas, you take out all of the moisture in the oxygen bottles, and so it's incredibly dry. And this is so that it doesn't freeze up when you're in the really cold temps up high, and so the oxygen dries out your lungs. And
it's my mom.
And yeah, it's Andres' mom. the oxygen dries out your lungs and gives you a cough. It's called the Kumbu cough. But the oxygen combined with the dry air just makes you have a really heinous cough for a lot of people. And so the week that we spent at base camp waiting to go for the summit bid, I was trying to get over this really heinous cough that can be pretty debilitating. But we have one of the best high altitude doctors in the world. Her name's Monica, and she's on our team. And so, with Monica's help, I was able to get over the cough and be fit enough to go with them on the summit bid, and was lucky enough to be able to be a part of that. So, on the summit bid, if we scroll down a little bit more,
Dude, that's crazy.
Adrian climbing. We can keep scrolling. Yeah, just some of the pretty fun.
Look at that image right there. Like, wow, dude, that is so cool.
There's the cough.
The final steep bit for C2. Beautiful day, great conditions. Super stoked. You. Yeah, baby.
Dude, that is crazy. Oh man, dude. So then your job while you were here was it basically capture these moments, this expedition. And I know there's a picture, if we can go back to the beginning, and then scroll through. There's the first one that I saw was just majestic. Right there.
Yeah.
And you took all these.
So I took all these. Yeah, so that's Amana Blam. That's the north face of Amana Blam, the mother necklace of the Himalaya. And this was taken as we were trekking. So I mean, the Himalaya is the most stunning place on the planet. It's hard to fathom the scale of these mountains. And I mean, this is Amana Blam. This north face is a really technical, awesome climb, and we climbed the southeast ridge, just on the other side where the clouds are, and it's a incredible mountain that they're really psyched to climb someday. But the Himalayas are absolutely bonkers.
Dude.
Yeah, so my job was to create content and shoot photos, and if you keep scrolling, Amy, we can find maybe some more. That's a crazy steep bit right above where we started climbing. Just on the glacier there. So we can, as we left for the summit bid, Adrian left his skis at 24,500 feet, and the goal was for him to ski the mountain. He'd made 2 previous ascents attempts without being able to reach the summit. And I was fortunate enough to be able to climb to 25,000 feet on my 25th birthday. It just ended up working out that way. And I was talking about O2 sats. If you click on the photo with my finger and this little blue thing, that one. So if you can see, I think that says my O2 sats are 59. Yeah. So our oxygen saturation levels right now are around 97, 98, 99. And if you would present this to anyone in the medical field and you were presenting below, in the 80s, they'd freak out in the emergency room thinking that you were dying. And so this is my oxygen, my O2 sats sitting at 24,500 feet.
Dude.
Yeah, crazy.
That's crazy, dude. I talked about this on the show last time, or I think one of the last few episodes, but I was having some weird heart palpitation stuff in May actually, and all through the spring, and my blood oxygen would drop to 80, and my doctor, when I told that to the doctors, they were like, why didn't you come to the hospital? So that's 80 is bad enough. When you look at 59, you're dying, dude. You're dying. You're literally dying. What the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, crazy.
Holy shit. That's crazy.
But was feeling pretty good. And there's a rad video. Amy, if you go back out, let's see if we can find it. That 2-minute, 32-second video. This is the climb going from Camp 2 to Camp 3. And it's about 2,000 feet of steep, pretty vertical rock and ice climbing and hard snow climbing. And this is what we did on my birthday. So that's Adrian ahead of me. And this is about 45, 50 degrees. and I think I twirl around here, but I'm breathing really hard, using oxygen, and this is like the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life, and Adrian is doing it without oxygen. And let me tell you, oxygen makes you feel like a superhero. You just fully are on a different level than everyone that's not climbing without oxygen. And Adrian and our two Sherpa, Dorje Sonam Sherpa and Piso Pasang Sherpa, just are the strongest humans that I've met in my entire life. The Sherpas, truly, no one would climb in the Himalaya without the Sherpa. I cannot talk highly enough about the Sherpa. We would not be here without them. They are the strongest humans I've met ever. They are incredible. I mean, Dorje has summited Everest 19 times and is a 43-year-old man. And is strong as a horse. So it's a pretty, incredible thing to be able to work with these guys. So we climbed to our high camp C3 at 24,500 feet. And that was my high point. So I wasn't destined to go to the summit. We didn't have the support for me to go and then not reach the summit. So I stayed at high camp, and my goal was to try to fly the drone and create content, and then also to support Carl and Nico on their summit bid. So they ended up summiting on the same day as Adrian, and so we climbed to 25,000 feet, and then I kind of bid Adrian, Dorje, and Piso adieu. There's Adrian getting ready.
Oh wait, sorry, I went.
And
Amy dropped off, so I'm doing all this now. But dude, this is the 2.5 minute video. This is you climbing.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, you can
God,
skip
dude.
in and
What
see.
in the world. In here, okay, dude, this is insane. This is crazy, Griffin.
Crazy.
When you look at these images, do you think like what do you recall? Like what are the feelings? What emotions were you feeling at this point here?
Just like stoked and focused, just like lasered in. Like I was trying to keep up with one of the best mountain athletes in the world. I mean, like Adrian has set several records on 8,000 meter peaks. The guy has summited Everest 8 times before this. And in my mind, I'm thinking 3 things. 1, don't die. 2, you need to keep up. And 3, don't forget to take your camera out every once in a while. And so I was just trying to do all that I could to keep up and climb. And I mean, it was my birthday, so I was just fully living it was a dream. It was such a dream.
Dude,
And this was
fucking insane.
The coolest climb that I'd done in my life. I mean, the what we're climbing right now, Andres, if you go back out, I think I included the video. Scroll up a bit, maybe. A little bit more. I think it's coming up soon. There's a video that shows the full face of what we were just climbing. Somewhere up here a little bit more. It's a drone shot. Anyways, just like a crazy face. Down, no, that's me.
This.
There, the 22nd. Yeah.
What the fuck, dude?
So this was taken as Adrian was carrying his skis up the mountain. And so this like steep Serac, is all the glacier. And then this rock band that you see here coming into view, that's what we were climbing. And that little speck right in the middle, that's Adrian. And so
Right there.
That right there. Yeah. And so we climbed.
It looks like a flea. It looks like a flea in your milk. Crazy.
Yeah. So it was like the hardest and most engaging climb that I'd done. And you know, you're trying hard physically. Yeah, right there. And so this rock band that you see above what we were climbing in the previous video.
Right here. I see.
Yeah. And so you know, you're physically exhausted from what you're trying to do, and then you also have the added, you know, crutch of altitude. Like it's really debilitating being that high. And so that's Adrian Ballinger, the founder of my company and my boss and friend, but truly an incredible human. Yeah. So he went on to climb and reach the summit. Our team fixed the ropes to the summit, and so we led and fixed everything to the summit, kind of leading the way. And it was the first time that Makalu had been summited in 3 years. It hadn't been summited since 2019. And so Dorje, Adrian, and Piso, they climbed to the summit, and then Adrian put on his skis about 10 meters below the summit. And if you keep scrolling down, I've got some ski photos of Adrian.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, first of all, I want to show this really quick. Damn, dude, that's such a sick picture.
That's so cool. So that's the high camp. So that's Makalu, what you see there, and then the 27-second video that's next to it.
That's him skiing.
No, that's me in the morning. And behind me, that's Everest and Lhotse right there. So Everest is the peak on the right, Lhotse is the peak on the left. In the background, you can see Kanchenjunga, the third tallest peak in the world, and then behind me is Makalu. So this was the sunrise that morning, and as you can see, my mind is just like being completely blown. And yeah, so that's Everest in the background.
So hang on a sec. You're telling me right here, right there, that's Mount Everest right here?
That's Mount Everest, nice. And then right next to it is Lhotse, or the fourth tallest peak in the world. It doesn't look that big, no.
25,000 feet up.
Yeah.
Fun fact, 25,000 feet is like, for people who might like to give you an idea, like that's almost 2 times as long as like the Indianapolis Speedway, like 2 laps around it or whatever. That's like, it's like 70% of as deep as the Mariana Trench. It's a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's high.
That's crazy.
High, that's crazy. For sure. Dude, yeah, so then Adrian went on to the summit, put his skis on about 10 meters below the summit. And
because these are beautiful images at Gryffindor. Very proud of your photography.
Yeah, thanks. And
there's the skis.
There's the skis. So there's Adrian skiing from Camp 3. So he skied and then met me and spent about an hour. I made him hot coffee and, kind of like he rested for about an hour, and then we got ready and then it was time for him to make the rest of the ski descent. So this steep rock bit, everything that you saw in the video that we like, the steep video, that like pretty bonkers video, Adrian did on skis. When he rappelled a lot of it. He went down that
on ski with.
Yeah, I mean, like right there. If he would fall, there's the climber in the yellow suit. Like where that is there's about 200 meters of snow underneath that, and then a 3,000 foot cliff. So like for about, I think it was a 8,000 foot ski descent. For about 8,000 feet, he was in no fall zone for the entire time. So it was like one of the craziest things that I'd experienced in my life. And I think there's a video up here somewhere of me kind of sharing that. Yeah, this might be it.
One of the scarier things I've ever done. One of the cooler rappels I've ever done.
Dude.
Dude is fucking doing it on skis.
No way, dude. No way, dude.
Fucking insane. What the fuck? Down into the abyss we go. Oh my god. Adrian Ballinger is a beast.
Dude, what in the fucking world is this? This is crazy.
It's crazy. So there is, I mean, like, as you can see there's Adrian passing a Sherpa from another team coming up. But it was, 5 hours, 6 hours. He summited around 9 a.m. and we got back to base camp at like 8 p.m. And so they left our high camp at 12 a.m.
Just made it down off the last rappel. Whoa. That was the most real thing I've ever done in my life. Adrian's fucking doing it on skis. I'm really happy to be here. Wow, holy fuck. I'm not like just like here, like alive.
Dude.
Yeah, so it's like whiteout conditions, like can't see shit. And Adrian's rappelling on skis, and he's doing it without oxygen. And so like everything, I can't tell you how much harder it was what Adrian and the Sherpa did. They took their oxygen off at 24,500 feet. They climbed at 24,500 feet without oxygen. Like what they were doing and what these people do at altitude is absolutely bonkers. Yeah, pretty incredible. And so this is all below Camp 2. And these photos that you're seeing, I crashed my drone like right before the most beautiful light I'd seen in my entire life, like appeared through the clouds. And I fully botched it and crashed my drone, which is another lesson that I learned from the book Field is you just kind of got to keep your head up and keep going. You get a door slammed in your face and you never know what lies behind the next door, and you do with what you can. So that's a selfie of me after getting back to base camp. I didn't climb to the summit, but I was awake the entire time that everyone was climbing to the summit. And I didn't include the time lapse, but I took a time lapse of me sitting in the tent, and I spent 7 hours just sitting in a tent, freezing my ass off, hoping that everyone above me was doing okay, and like getting radios of like, oh, we made it to the French couloir, which is the crux of the climb. So crux is like the hardest part of the climb. So they made it to the French couloir, and I'm just like listening on the edge of my seat at 25,000 feet, like freezing my ass off in my tent, wishing that I was climbing with them, but knowing that I was supporting the team the best that I could by hanging out and not being a liability, if you will. And so, yeah, Adrian made the first ski descent of Makalu from the summit. He put on his skis about 10 meters from the summit. He took off his skis for about a 60-meter rappel in the French couloir, and then left his skis on for the duration of the ski descent from there. So, I mean, truly, like it was the first time that had ever been done. That same day, Carl and Nico climbed the mountain and back from the summit, like base to base, in 26 hours. In a single push without oxygen, and they only had 3 days of rest. They made an attempt 3 days earlier and failed, and came back down and recovered, and then went and climbed to the summit. Incredible. I mean, they're amazing athletes. And then Carla and Topo made the summit without oxygen, and then Topo and Christina also made the summit with oxygen. So the entire Alpenglow team that was meant to reach the summit, and it was an incredible expedition. One of the hardest things that I've ever done, for sure. Just suffering for a month, but an incredible experience, and such a beautiful way to experience the world. And you're living the entire time. You're fully in it, and it was a wonderful experience. I'm grateful to have been a part of it, and to have been able to shoot photos and help tell the story of this historic ski descent, for sure.
Dude. You're fucking crazy, man. You and Adrian and all that whole Alpenglow folks, that's why you need to be crazy to climb Mount Everest, though. So is that what's next? Yeah. Is that what's next? 29,000.
It's definitely on the tick list. Yeah, I'd love to be able to. I mean, I think it'd be fun to the rest of my life turn my age at that appropriate feat. I think it'd be hard to do, but definitely planning. I've got it marked in my calendar already, trying to be on the summit of Everest for my 29th birthday. Everest is 29,032 feet. So I'd love to be on the summit of Everest as I turn 29. And it's possible, actually, that Adrian has summited on May 8th before, which is my birthday. So it would be a cool thing. We'll have to see. But definitely Everest is on my tick list, among a handful of other mountains. But yeah.
Dude, you are a freak of nature, Gryffindor. And I take no offense that you said that was your favorite climb in your life. No offense taken from. I'm sure your second favorite was the Machu Picchu climb, without a
Yes,
doubt.
of course. Yes, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Andres and I
The opposite of
checked.
that. No planning.
A lot more planning. Andres and I completely winged a trek up to Machu Picchu in Peru after I finished up my time in Patagonia, and there's a lot more planning that went into Makalu than our Peru trip. That's for sure.
There was planning in general. There was no planning. We had
No.
the opposite of what you just said. Everything. We spent an hour on this. The opposite of that was what happened in Machu Picchu.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, in case you don't want to go back and listen to that first episode, long story short, in September of 2018, because that was when I graduated college. That's right. In 2018, Griffin saw me in the middle of the Union and it's like, hey, I'm going to Colombia. And I said, okay, I'll go with you. He goes, okay, I'm leaving like tomorrow, so you need to commit to coming with me to Machu Picchu like today. I said, fuck it, let's go. So that's it. He told me where he was going to be on December 14th in Cusco, Peru, and I had to get to him. And that was it. That was literally that was all the planning that we did. And on December 14th, there you were at the airport in Cusco.
Well, and the crazy thing is, I finished up my trip to Patagonia. I'm flying to Peru, and I'm checking into my flight, and for some reason my ticket wasn't valid. Something was happening with my ticket. My phone was dying. My phone ended up dying and then not turning on again. So I message Andres with 1% battery. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be late, but I'm going to be there sometime in the next 12 hours. Don't leave the airport. And then I don't talk to Andres for 10 hours. And I fly into this airport in Peru, and I'm like, oh fuck, I hope I find Andres. I have no way to communicate with him. My phone's not working. And I sure enough, see Andres looking out the window of this cafe, and every flight that had come in for the last 10 hours, Andres just looked out the window looking for me. And then we just went on this crazy, incredibly spontaneous adventure in Peru and Colombia.
We had no hotel planned, literally zero things planned. The whole attitude was fuck it. Literally was our motto. Oh man, that was great. So I'm okay. I take no offense to Makalu became your favorite climb ever, but I hope at least Machu Picchu is in your top 5 by the time you die of old age. Of a life well lived and captured by your beautiful photography, my friend. That I am so proud of you. I gotta say, I told you I wanted to take some time really quick to give you a shout out before we move on. Of course, I want to hear more stories about climbing and stuff. Maybe some book stories here and there. But I do got to say, I sat down with you and you mentioned this, but I don't think I ever told this side of the story. I just heard it from you, but I just remember thinking when you got done selling books, and this is a theme that we've talked about quite a bit here, but this is a theme that applies to life in general. And you're a testament of this, where it's like, if you're unhappy with your life, you got to take a chance on you and believe in yourself. And Southwestern wasn't for everybody, and you did one full summer. You finished what you said you were going to do, and I saw you worked your ass off during it and deal with your challenges that you had during that summer. And then you didn't want to come back, and I thought that was cool. And I know there were some people in the company who were like, he should have came back, he should have done more. But I understood that you had bigger things, and I remember just asking you. I could tell you weren't happy that year after. I'm like, dude, I'm no longer in Southwestern. So this isn't coming from a place of trying to recruit you into this. I'm just literally, I remember asking you, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. You asked me, what the fuck are you doing? And it's a question that's changed my life, truly. It's so cliche, but that was kind of the first time that I really questioned what I was doing. I mean, I talked about it a little bit on the last episode, but I was dating a girl that was a long distance relationship, and our plan was for me to go to grad school, us to go to grad school together, and I was going to work at a university the rest of my life. And
I just could see it.
Yeah, you're the first person to like asked me straight up, like, what are you doing? And like, is this what you're meant? Is this all that you're meant to do? Like, you're not meant, like, you're meant to do more. And that was the first time that I ever like questioned my reality, I suppose, of like the goals that I was doing. And I mean, like, everyone that signs up to do Southwestern Adventures has some ambition. Like, it takes courage to want to knock on doors and sell books to people. And so everyone is ambitious, but like that at that moment, I questioned what like my ambition was. Like, was this what I wanted to put my energy into for the duration of my life? Or did I want to go do something else that seemed more fun, less monotonous and boring to me? And that you asked me that question in, I don't know, August of 2018. In October, I bought a camera and decided that I was going to not go to grad school and I was going to go move to the mountains and do like that. That was the impetus of the change in my life. Was just having you ask me, what are you doing?
Well, and I remember, and again, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is a lesson for people like who are stuck in a job that they hate or in a relationship that they know they shouldn't be in. It's easier said than done. And I just wanted to say I'm proud of what you have accomplished and what you're accomplishing and where you're going, because I just remember sitting down with you and I talked to you, and it's not that you didn't like what you were doing. It would be a lie to say that you weren't necessarily in a position that you hated your life or you hated your relationship. I don't want to seem like
Yeah, no,
that
totally.
was you. But what I did know is, and I remember this is what I said to you, is like, dude, I have seen you talk about something electrically. Like, I had gone rock climbing with you on campus. We had done a couple of things, hung out a couple of different occasions, and I had seen you be excited about things. And then I had also seen you talk about what you're doing for work and and like the things that you were doing in your life. And I'm like, that is not the same fucking person. Like, sometimes when you talk about XYZ, you light up like a Christmas tree. And then sometimes when you talk about what you're doing now, it's not the same. So what the fuck are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
why don't you just go do that? And I asked him, like, what do you want? If money wasn't a problem, if you knew you couldn't fail, like, what would you do? And you said photography. I'm like, have you been a photographer before? And you said no. So
Yeah.
I was like,
Not
well,
yet.
you should go fucking buy a camera and start doing that, but stop doing this because you're not happy here. Like, I could tell. And it's so funny because I didn't think that was going to do anything. I was just like, I say that to people as like an asshole all the time. And so,
Yeah,
but
totally. But it
then
takes
I
those
remember
people.
you bought a camera. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean, it takes those people. Like I asked that question to a really dear friend of mine a while ago, like, what are you doing? And she was like, I haven't been asked that before. You're like, yeah, like, well, what are you doing? Like, what is, like, it's so open-ended that it really fucks people up. And I've been asking that question ever since you asked that to me, in the small chance that someone takes it as meaningful as I did, to being like, oh man, like, what am I doing? Like, is this what I want to do with my life? And you have the opportunity to change it, which is, I think, the coolest thing. And one of the things that I learned with I actually, just on my Snapchat timeline, there's a video of me doing a backflip off of a zip line from a family that I've sold books to in like rural Vermont. And before I like go to do this backflip off of this zip line, I said, action cures fear. And it's true. Like, go do. It doesn't matter. Like, go action, do it. Like, you think that you want to go do something, fucking do it. What are you waiting for? Absolutely. The only way that you're going to do anything in life is to do. And I mean, that like has fully shaped my life. And here I am, a kid from Kearney, Nebraska, with cornfields surrounding him, climbing some of the biggest mountains in the world and helping people climb the biggest mountain in the world. It's been a crazy journey.
Gosh. And I'm glad you say that, because again, I just want to repeat, I'm so stinking proud of you, that, like, you decided to take it fucking face on and say, you know what, I'm going to pursue this. You started doing photography that year, and then now you're taking these amazing images of world-class athletes doing amazing things in the fucking Himalaya. Like, this, like,
yeah, that's crazy.
I am so proud of you, dude. I'm so proud of
Thank
you.
you.
I'm honored. I'm a big fan of you. You're a fan of Adrian. I'm a fan of you. I'm a fan of what you are doing, and I'm so excited. You just send me a picture. Just write Ponytails podcast, this is for you when you're at the top of Everest, and just fucking that'll be our cover picture for every
I will.
November. We'll make a t-shirt out of it. Because you climbed that pony, baby. You got up on that pony and you rode it like a fucking
Yeah.
horse.
I knew
That's-
that pony was out there for sure. Yeah.
Oh, dude, that is.
Yeah, thank you.
That's
It
so
means
cool.
a lot, truly. Yeah.
So cool, sir. Well, damn. Well, let's get into some ponytails. I think this is probably a good time. I'm gonna share a couple of more of our friends here on the show. If you got to take a potty break or get more beer, feel free. But if you got like some cool stories, whether they're from the book field or related to the book field, or like something connected, you can share those. I'm gonna do a quick shout out to some more of our friends. I got a few to go through here and some of their words of wisdom. So guys, as I was telling you guys, Cardinal is crushing it at selling life insurance, and the way they approach their business is how many of you should if it makes sense. So Quintin's biggest technical advice when in business is to become a broker. After all, you don't actually work for the company you think you're working for, you work for a client. So when you're able to truly look at their needs and best serve them with a product or service that's really specific to them, they sleep better at night knowing that out of all the available options, they got the best one with you. And so you're able to sleep at night knowing you did what's best for them while also having more money to take care of your own special needs. So serve your clients, and they will happily do business with you. And then, of course, want to give a shout out to Southwestern Real Estate. Pat Roach is one of our biggest fans. We've had several of their agents here on the show. We love what they're doing and the way that they approach their business. But we've loved, of course, working with Pat and interviewing people like Chris Q, Meredith Kelly, Tim and Sarah Goss, Grant Greeter, host of other people. Chris Q, of course, is one of the first few people we had on here. Meredith is one of our oldest back like episode 6, I think, or something like that. So we love you guys all. But what do they do to find success so consistently? So 150 coffee dates or lunches per year. That's it. That's how they do it. So they each follow a system where if they sit down and build relationships with 150 people in a year, they will stay in front of mind with enough people that dozens will come to them and buy their home or sell their home or refer a friend who will. Taking Meredith, for example, she says that it's not even like working. Many other agents join Southwestern Real Estate simply knowing that they get to live a life on their own terms while they'll succeed. And of course, they make a ton of money doing it, where a lot of people don't actually do so well once they get started. So let's put you in touch with Pat to learn more about working with them. It's such a cool team to be a part of, guys. And Pat is running a ship there where the culture is incredible. I want to share a little bit more also about our website. Guys, of course, you can go to theponytailspodcast.com, sign up for a newsletter. This goes to Griffin too, by the way, or anybody listening. If you guys want to hear what's going on in the show, keep up with what we're doing, hear more of these words of wisdoms from different industries, from our sponsors. Of course, keep track of your units, YOUNITS. You can go check out The Cult, COLT. Everything here is horse themed. You can check out The Cult. That's going to be our newsletter. It's free. You can sign up. You're not going to get any sort of like gimmicky things to sign up for, no credit card information or any of that shit. You might see every once in a while some of our merch or some merch of the Ponytails podcast you can buy, but don't worry, it's just more for our fans to get and keep in touch with us and keep up to date with what's going on here on the show. That's going to be once a month that goes out, but that was in part brought to you by Oscar and Oliver over VDisain. They did our online presence, and we definitely would recommend you guys improve yours by reaching out to them and seeing how they can help you if it makes sense for you. Also, shout out to EnLight.Energy, solar company that we've partnered with from way back in the day. They have been built with through Julio Hernandez, Nick Taverdi, and Alex Black, and of course. Right now, the solar industry is like the Wild West. So some companies are overcharging their clients by lying through their teeth, and sometimes not on purpose, and recruiting all their bros to do the same. So when you get into the industry like that, it's important that you work and learn from people who aren't just doing it as a fad. At EnLight, their leadership with Julio has over 35 years of experience in solar and is dedicated for the long haul. So join them at a hot time in the industry where homeowners are reaching out in droves just to learn more about a way to save money. It's not even about, people don't even care about saving the planet anymore. It sounds sad to say, they want to save money. And now it makes sense to save the planet and save money at the same time. And that's what they're doing at EnLight.Energy. So make sure you get to get on their team. And then last but not least, of course, one more time, Cardinal, they started advertising with us a few months ago. I think they've recruited 4 people now through the show. So if you guys want to learn more about why so many people are joining their team, especially through here, just reach out to us. We'll put you in touch with them. Their agents their top agents are earning $15,000 12 to 15,000 per week, averaging about 30 to 34 hours of work. So pretty solid. Life insurance industry is that way. So of course, we were mentioning before that they're growing. We can put you in touch with them so you can learn more about their opportunity. So that is all for now. So now back to Mr. Griffin Mims. And yeah, I don't know if you have one story or several stories, but this is an opportunity to share some of maybe specific experiences or learning lessons or impactful moments or crazy opportunities, both on the book field or on your climb on Makalu, or how one intertwined with the other. I don't know, but the mic is yours, my friend. Griffin Mims and your ponytails.
Yeah. So I mean, the ponytail that came to mind on the last episode, I talked about how I dropped a full bag my second day in the field. But this one came a little bit later. I was in rural Vermont, and I think it was like maybe my second day where I hadn't sold anything, and I was feeling really shitty, and was like, all my friends, I think, were like I was not working. I was sitting in my car, not doing anything, just feeling bad for myself and being a piece of shit. And I remember like crying in my car, being like, what am I doing? I don't want to be here, but I promised myself and my friends that I would do this thing. Like I'm not going to fail at this. It feels like I'm failing right now. And I remember sitting in my car and being like, okay, I just need to go knock on a door. Like Danny was my manager. I was really grateful to have Danny Gambo as my manager. And I mean, of course, to have Andres as well as my roommate at the time. But Danny was just like, dude, just like go knock on a door. That's all you have to do. Like, you don't have to don't sweat anything. Just go knock on a door. So I got out of my car, drove up to the house that I'd mapped out, or the neighborhood that I mapped out. And I knocked on this door, and it was a teacher. And I ended up having a great conversation with the teacher, sold books to her. She gave me epic beta on everyone in the street. Beta is climbing terms for information. So gave me all of the beta, gave me all the pre-approach for the entire street. And then I ended up selling the next 2 doors after her that I talked to immediately. I sold 3 doors back to back to back. And that had never happened to me the entire time that I sold books. And I remember leaving the 3rd house and going back to my car to drive into the next neighborhood and just sitting down and being like, I can't believe that just happened. I cannot believe that just happened. An hour ago, I was sitting in my car crying, and I just sold 150 units. I dropped books. I made good money. I sold 3 houses in a row to a teacher, a family with 2 kids, and then another family that, unfortunately, I don't remember, but 3 houses back to back to back. And that was kind of what solidified that lesson to me. And I think was really the turning point to my summer was that moment of I'd spent this hour, 2 hours, whatever it was in my car, feeling sorry for myself. I made the decision to go knock on a door and to take a chance and to believe in myself. And then I sold 3 houses back to back to back. And it was just a lesson of you never know what's going to happen when you ask and when you try. That you have to try. If you think that you're going to go sell books for a summer and just go through the motions, you're going to hate it. It sucks. Selling books fucking sucks. But if you make it good for yourself and you work hard, it's the same thing with life of you just have to go make the decision to do something. And it was the same thing. I took that lesson into my everyday life and ended up changing my life forever. Another moment of that, I was in Yosemite National Park, and it was my first time in Yosemite. We were sitting in front of El Capitan, and I saw this person swinging from the base of El Cap off of a rope. And I was like, I want to go do that. So we went back to our campground, got my climbing gear, hiked up to the base, found this rope just attached to the wall on El Cap, and then ended up swinging 300 feet off the ground. It's called the Alcove Swing, swinging off of El Cap. And it blew my mind again at that moment, because the only thing that put me there, the only reason I had that experience at that time was me making the decision to do that. I was like, I want to do that, so I'm going to do that. And then I did it. And it blew my mind that this was free. Anyone could do this. This rope was just sitting there, and there are millions of people that come to Yosemite National Park a year. And at that moment, me and my two friends were the only person having this absolutely bonkers experience, swinging off of a 3,000-foot rock cliff in Yosemite National Park, one of the most beautiful places on the planet. So that was kind of my pony. Like my pony was those 3 doors that I knocked on. That the difference between me having a good day and a bad day, and me having an interesting life and a plain boring life that I just let pass me by, is the decision to do, like action. Do action cures fear. Make the decision to do something. And that was, I mean, something that I have carried into my life, and it is the only reason that I was able to go on Makalu, is I wanted to go. And so I, worked hard to make that happen, and in a couple different ways, and was fortunate to be supported by the company that I work for, and work for a really incredible company with incredible people to support me in that vision. And, I hope to be able to carry that throughout the rest of my life, is make the decision to live life. We're going to die someday. Everyone does. You might as well live an interesting life before that happens. And the only way that you're going to do that is to take action before. So yeah, kind of a soapbox there, but like that changed my life.
No, dude, that's great. And on that follow-up question to that, because I think that's beautiful, the lesson that you're sharing with us. What would you say to someone who's going, yeah, but I'm scared, or yeah, but what if it doesn't work? What if they didn't answer that first door that you knocked out? What if they had told you, no, you can't, shoot our trip to Makalu? What if there had been no rope to jump off of? What do you do then?
Yeah, and it's okay to be scared. I mean, everything in life is scary. I was scared when I was climbing Makalu. I'm scared. I was scared yesterday climbing a route that I have been working on for a year. It's okay to be scared, and it's okay to have rejection, but you just have to keep going and find the next door. And even having the courage, in quotation marks, to like take a leap of faith and put yourself out there, that you should focus on having the ability to make the decision, and then the outcome of the decision is just a cherry on top. If you get to go do that thing, like that I had a friend of mine who's now a close friend, but before I went to Makalu, he was saying like, oh dude, like you're having your moment, like this is a moment for you. But I hadn't put in any of the hard work yet. Like all that I had done was made the opportunity for me to go to Makalu. I hadn't made it to the mountain yet. I hadn't shot any photos yet. I could have completely failed and not done anything well. I could have gotten sick and not been able to climb. I could have looked like a complete idiot on the mountain, and my boss could have told me to stay in base camp. Like I hadn't had my moment yet. And so you need to just have come in with the confidence that you can make the opportunities that you need in life to continue on to live an extraordinary life. And you need to be able to put the work in, so that when the time comes when that door opens and that family does buy, you have put in the work with all the people that said no to you, all the ideas that didn't work out, everything that's failed, with an understanding and confidence that at one point in time, because you made the decision to try to do this thing, it's going to happen. And it's okay to be scared. I get scared all the time. That's why I love climbing. Like I can climb an easy route outside and still get scared and still feel like I climbed the hardest thing that I've ever climbed in my life, because you're overcoming fear. It's that action cures fear. And it's so true. It's so true. And like the sales managers say it, and it sounds like bullshit, but really you don't know until you knock on the next door and you see something happen for you. That's how I would respond. Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Take that, fear. Fuck you, fear. That's what it is.
Yeah.
FYI. Fuck you, fear.
Fuck you, fear. And it's like, it's okay to be afraid, but to not do something because you're afraid. Like, I don't know how many of you on that listen to this podcast are climbers. If you haven't gone climbing yet, you really should try. But when you lead climb, you fall the distance to your next protection. So you can take like between like a 2 to 50 foot fall, depending on how far your protection is. And the fear of falling is an innate part of climbing. Everyone falls. Alex Honnold falls. Like you fall when you climb, and every time falling is scary. Anyone who says that falling isn't scary is lying. Falling innately as a human being is scary, but you get used to that fear. You get used to that feeling of like, oh shit, I really don't want to fall right now. Or like that feeling of like, hey, you need to be really calm right now, because if you fell right now, it actually would not be good. Like that happens to me often. And it happens to every climber often. Like it's just an innate thing. And I think that everyone that listens to this podcast, if you sold books, I think that you would love climbing, because it has the physical aspect of it. It has the fear aspect of it. And it has this accomplishment feeling that the top of every route that you climb, you feel accomplished because you accomplished something. You fucking climbed something. And climbing is meaningless. It's bullshit, but it gives this self-confidence that's so powerful. And you get used to the fear and you get used to this thing. And it's okay to be afraid, but go for it. Like, fucking go for it. That's that's what I've learned from climbing in Southwestern, and that's how I'm here right now is just being able to go for it, like fucking live life.
Can I tell you a story and we'll end it with this? It just brought me to this story. I think I might have told this on the show before, but who knows? Not everybody listens to every episode. But you just said something that reminded me of a story with Danny, actually. And I kept saying for the longest time, because I was selling books still when I met you and we were climbing, and I'm like, I think every book person or anybody who has sold books before, I mean, really everybody should go rock climbing, because the similarities are, it's just you versus you, really. You think what it really is, every hold is like a door, and you're just like, whether it's not getting you to the top, but it's getting you closer. Even if it's a no, it's getting you closer to whatever, but eventually one of them is going to knock you off. You're going to fall, right? And it's like this fear, and that's the fear you get to overcome with yourself, because you're going to fall anyway, so might as well, like, you're going to fail, right? And I took my brother, and Danny doesn't like climbing. I loved climbing too. When I started climbing, I was like, oh man, this is so cool. It's such a cool sport. Love it. Love learning. It's always more challenging. There's always someone better than you. And Danny, we were climbing, and I convinced him to go climbing. He gets down, we get done, and he's just kind of looking up at the wall. And it's this like 40-foot wall there at UNL. It's nothing too amazing, but it's a nice climbing gym. And he goes, dude, and he was training for a marathon too. So he's like, dude, humans were made for running, not for climbing. Like this is the reason I don't like this is because there's like, it's not innate for us to, like, it's not in our instinct to climb. It's like we're like by far we're better at long distances than any other animal on the planet. In fact, we're not meant to climb. That's what monkeys do. Like, we're supposed to run. And I thought about this, and I was like, you know what, Danny? Like, you're right. We were not made to climb, but mountains were made to be climbed. So I guess it's up to you. And he's just like, oh. And I'm like, now go kick some ass this summer. It was like right before he left for the book field. And then he went and hit like his best summer ever and stuff. And like later on we talked about it. I'm like, see, you climbed a mountain. It wasn't the mountain like a physical sense, but it's the same thing. You weren't meant to go sell. Human beings aren't meant to sell, but products were made to be sold. So I guess it's up to you. And that's life in general. You weren't meant to, most things in life that you're probably doing, you weren't meant to do. Most things in your passion. We're not made to be photographers. We're not made to be fucking talk show hosts or whatever the fuck this is. I don't even know. Talking with my buddies, right? But there's stories there to be shared. And I love that I get to have people on the show to share them. And there's pictures waiting to be taken, moments waited to be captured. And somebody's going to capture them. We weren't meant to do them, but might as well be you.
Yeah, the question that I asked myself that changed my life the reason I bought a camera is I asked myself, I was watching a film by Chris Burkhardt, and I was like, man, why can't I do that? And then I just rephrased the question and asked myself again, why can't I do that? I don't have a camera. I don't know how, but those are the only two reasons that I can't do that. And yeah, I mean, you're exactly right.
Both of them are controlled by you.
Yeah, it's making the decision.
As much as we'd like to tell our lives, yeah, and people like excuses. Well, the environment and the people I grew up with, my parents, and look, everybody's had some hardships, and everybody's got their own mountain to climb. You weren't supposed to have to overcome your parents' divorce or racism or blah, blah, blah. That's not how we were supposed to have been made by whatever creator you believe in. No, but you are in that situation, so you might as well be you that overcomes it and just fucking rise to the top.
Yeah.
And just enjoy, and then enjoy the ride down. right?
Uh-huh.
And then tell a story about it. So, bro,
Yeah.
such a cool moment to share with you, and wow, so fun,
Yeah.
my man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure to catch up, and love the Ponytails podcast, and thanks for everything. Yeah.
Dude, you're a stud. I can't wait. I'll have to have him back on after you climb Everest. Make sure you take lots of pictures. Don't crash your
Yes,
drone.
I will. I'll try not to.
Bring an extra drone if you have to. And remember, you got to write a sign that says Ponytails Podcast. This was for you, and then take a picture of it.
I will.
Or at least wear one of our T-shirts or some shit. Like, I don't know. We'll pay.
I'll bring
We'll
something
pay to
with
have.
me.
Yeah, we'll pay to have something up there with you.
Uh-huh.
Tell Adrian I said hello.
I will.
Because I'm just kidding. Nah, enjoy your time, bro. I'm super proud of you. Can't wait to hear what's going on with you in your life and what happens in the future. Keep in touch, of course. We're always keeping in touch, sending good memes over the air. But thank you guys so much. My name is Andres Gamboa. This has been Griffin Mims. He's been sharing with us some amazing stuff. If you were only listening to it, I definitely recommend you going back to about minute 42 and go check out some of the amazing photos. If you just want to catch up with him, or it may be if you're a book person that has the time and the money to freaking go climb Mount Everest, because of course there's probably book people out there who are looking for that next challenge to do and that life on the edge moment that they tend to have and look for. Make sure you guys reach out to Griffin Mims and Alpenglow Expeditions. You can find it. Just Google it, and then that way you guys can have Griffin instruct you and walk you through what it would take for you to climb these amazing mountains that were meant to be climbed. So on that note, we'll see you guys later. Thank you so much. Catch you on the next